Imagine watching your entire army vanish in a single afternoon. 50,000 men, gone, the ground soaked in blood, senators dead, generals crushed, Rome humiliated beyond imagination. 216 BC, the Battle of Cannae. Hannibal Barca had just pulled off one of the greatest tactical masterpieces in military history. He lured the massive Roman army forward, wrapped his forces around them like a tightening fist, and squeezed until the Republic stopped breathing. It wasn't just a defeat, it was annihilation. Any normal civilization would have sued for peace. Rome didn't. Instead, the Senate met in stunned silence and decided something terrifying. They would not surrender. Not now, not ever. They conscripted boys barely old enough to shave. They armed slaves and promised them freedom. They recruited criminals and pardoned them in exchange for service. They scraped together weapons from temples and private homes. If you could hold a spear, Rome needed you. But this time, they would not fight Hannibal the same way. For years, Roman pride demanded direct confrontation. March out, clash, win, or die. That pride had cost them everything. So Rome swallowed its ego and embraced a different strategy. Delay, harassment, starvation, avoid large-scale battle. Shadow Hannibal. Cut off his supplies. Burn crops before he could reach them. Let time do the killing. Hannibal marched through Italy undefeated, but increasingly stranded. He had expected Rome's allies to abandon the Republic after Cannae. Some did. Many didn't. Rome's network held stronger than he anticipated. And while Hannibal roamed Italy looking for a decisive confrontation, Rome started winning everywhere else. In Sicily, Roman forces crushed Carthaginian influence and secured the island. Sardinia followed. These weren't glamorous victories, but they mattered. Grain supplies were safe. The western Mediterranean tilted toward Rome. Meanwhile, in the east, King Philip V of Macedon tried to coordinate with Hannibal. Rome's response? Tie him down in Greece, keep him busy, contain the threat. The war would not be allowed to expand uncontrollably. But the real turning point wasn't in Italy, it was in Spain. Spain was Hannibal's lifeline. Silver mines funding the war, fresh troops feeding his ranks. Cut Spain, and you cut Hannibal's future. After Roman commanders in Spain were killed, the situation looked grim. Then a young man stepped forward. Publius Cornelius Scipio. He was in his mid-20s, too young. Too inexperienced, almost reckless. But he had something Rome desperately needed: confidence. He convinced the Senate to give him command in Spain. It was a gamble born of desperation, and it paid off. In 209 BC, Scipio did something bold, almost insane. Instead of slowly grinding through enemy territory, he struck directly at New Carthage, the Carthaginian capital in Spain. It was heavily fortified, protected by water and walls, considered nearly untouchable. Scipio studied the terrain. He learned the lagoon behind the city became shallow at low tide. So he attacked from the front and from the back. While defenders focused on the main assault, Roman troops waded through the lowered waters, scaled the rear walls, and opened the gates. In a single day, New Carthage fell. With it came hostages, treasure, weapons, and most importantly, intelligence. Spain began slipping from Carthaginian hands. But Scipio wasn't finished. At the Battle of Ilipa, he faced a larger Carthaginian force. For days he lined up his army in a predictable formation, conditioning the enemy to expect a certain deployment. Then, on the decisive morning, he reversed his formation, placing his strongest troops on the wings and launching an early assault before the Carthaginians had properly prepared. It was deception, layered on patience, layered on precision. The Carthaginian army broke. Spain was lost. And in Italy, Hannibal felt the ground shifting beneath him. He tried one last dramatic move, marching toward Rome itself, hoping to force the Republic into a panic. But Rome didn't bite. They stayed behind their walls. They refused to be manipulated. Then came the crushing blow. Hannibal's brother Hasdrubal marched from Spain to reinforce him. The two brothers united in Italy, Rome could face total disaster. They never united. Roman forces intercepted Hasdrubal in northern Italy and destroyed his army. Hasdrubal was killed. His severed head was thrown into Hannibal's camp. In that moment, Hannibal understood something chilling. he was alone. 16 years he had campaigned in Italy, 16 years of brilliance. And yet Rome still stood. Back in Rome, Scipio returned as a hero. He had proven himself not just capable, but extraordinary. And now he proposed something audacious: invade Africa. Strike Carthage itself. Many senators hesitated. It was risky, but eventually they agreed. Scipio sailed to North Africa and forged a critical alliance with Masinissa, a Numidian prince and master of cavalry. Numidian horsemen were fast, flexible, devastating, exactly what Rome needed. In a daring night attack, Scipio set fire to enemy camps, creating chaos and slaughtering fleeing troops. Carthage panicked. There was only one option left. Recall Hannibal? After nearly 2 decades abroad, Hannibal returned home to defend the city he had sworn to protect. In 202 BC, 2 of history's greatest commanders finally faced each other on African soil at the Battle of Zama. Hannibal brought war. Elephants, hoping to break Roman lines with shock and terror. Scipio had studied him carefully. When the elephants charged, Roman soldiers opened lanes in their formation. Trumpets blared. Missiles flew. The elephants panicked and veered off course, trampling Carthaginian troops instead. Then came the infantry clash, disciplined Roman legions against hardened veterans of Italy. But the real decision came from the cavalry. Masinissa's Numidians drove off Hannibal's horsemen and then circled back, slamming into the Carthaginian rear. It was Cannae, reversed. Encircled, pressured, collapsing, Hannibal, undefeated for years, tasted defeat for the first time. It was final. Carthage sued for peace. They surrendered their fleet, paid crushing indemnities. They were forbidden from waging war without Rome's permission. Rome had not just survived, it had evolved. Hannibal would later go into exile, hunted by Rome's influence across the Mediterranean. Rather than be captured, he took poison, choosing death over humiliation. But even in victory, Rome never forgot how close it came to destruction. The fear of Carthage lingered, a shadow in the Roman mind, until decades later, that fear would ignite the Third Punic War and the total destruction of the city. What makes this story unforgettable isn't just Hannibal's genius. It's Rome's refusal to die. After Cannae, the world expected collapse. Instead, Rome adapted. It swallowed pride, changed strategy, powered new leadership, fought on multiple fronts, took risks when necessary, and learned from its enemy. Hannibal won battles, Scipio won the war, and Rome learned that resilience more than strength is what builds an empire. Fade to black.